out of all of that also, Mike, became or developed or evolved, maybe I should use that word, a Christian ministry that you operate today as well. Just briefly, tell us about your Christian ministry.
Well, let me tell you how I got into Christian ministry. I have set my sights on an academic career. And so I came and taught down at UCT in the field of evolution. And I remember an incident in which one of the students in my class, we'd have discussions about evolution. And she was a Christian. And she would say to me, "Oh, evolution is just a theory." In fact, she reminded me so much of myself so many years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And our conversations never really got anywhere. They sort of left hanging in the air. And then there was this incident in a practical class. I happened to look across the lab. She didn't see me looking at her, but I caught her facial expression as she picked up a fossil Australopithecine ape-man skull. And, Andre, there was fear written all over her face.
Mm-hmm.
She put down the fossil skull and walked out the lab.
Mm-hmm.
And her expression haunts me to this day. I could have kept myself because I should have realized that in our earlier conversations it had been just that much bravado.
Mm-hmm.
There were statements made on the surface, but she had been going through some turmoil herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think God used that incident to speak to me in terms of my direction, life direction. And he gave me a heart to focus on this ministry to help people deal with the evolution issue. And I think the deepest problem, in fact, let me put it as a question to you, actually. Imagine that you were standing outside the lab and you happened to see this girl, caught that same facial expression as I had, and she walked up the lab straight into you. What would you say to her?
Mm-hmm.
How would you help her?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what she doesn't need is a whole lot of arguments against evolution.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen the evidence firsthand. What she needs is to have her faith grounded in the person of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to have her attention of her faith directed towards him, this person.
Mm-hmm. That's
the great need. And so the ministry that I'm involved in does just that. It's a reminder to Christians to make sure their faith has the right foundation.
Okay.
Let me tell you a story that might illustrate this. At our church in Johannesburg, there was a fellow that came forward for prayer, and he had built this house on a plot. And after the house was built, they discovered it was built on the wrong plot, someone else's plot. And they approached the owners of the plot and said, there's been this mistake. Could we swap plots? And they were not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And that illustrates the importance of building your house on the right plot.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, our faith must be based on the right foundation.
And that foundation is Christ.
And that foundation is Christ.
Okay.